human, right? So this is where whether to know the sound exceeds the limits or not, okay, whether it is safe or not. This is where we use this equipment, or we use this device, okay, to measure the sound, right? So basically, a SLM, sound level meter, okay, it is used to assess noise or sound levels, okay, by measuring sound pressure. Okay, why sound pressure? Because sound basically vibrates, okay, within the air, right? That produces sound, okay, and this causes pressure to be built up. All right. So besides sound level meter, okay, it is also known as a decibel meter, okay, a dosimeter, okay. There's many names for this particular equipment. However, okay, what we know that this sound level meter, the usage of this device is to measure the noise or measure the sound in the surroundings, right? So normally it is a handheld equipment, because why? Because you need to bring it somewhere and you need to measure that particular environment's sound or noise, okay, produced in that particular workplace or that particular environment, and it is portable, right? And basically you do have several buttons on it, and then you have a LCD screen, okay, whereby it shows you the measurements of the sound in terms of decibel. And we do have several parameters for decibel. We have decibel A, decibel B, decibel C. Okay, that is for you to further research. Okay, so with a sound level meter, right, so you can see that industrial hygiene and workplace safety professionals can measure sound levels in multiple locations to ensure environmental conditions fall within the recommended exposure limits, RELS, okay, recommended exposure limits, okay, whereby if it exceeds, okay, the recommended exposure limits, okay, maybe you will be having hearing problems, okay, along the way, okay, maybe in a couple of years, workplace, okay, right? And somehow it will affect your health, okay, your emotions, right, and also your performance during doing such work, okay, in that particular environment. Okay, so this is a brief introduction about the SLM, right? Then can you hear me basically?
Yes.
Okay, right. Thank you. Okay, so this is the objective of the lab work for today. Okay, we have 4 objectives basically, right? So the first one is to conduct a hypothetical lab work involving a portable sound level meter, right? Why it is a hypothetical lab work? Because you are in ODL, okay? You cannot do any data collection, you cannot do any physical lab work, so you are going to do only hypothetical or theoretical lab work, okay, so that I will brief on you after this, right? So you are going to conduct just theoretical lab work, okay, and then the second objective is to study all the components and functions of the complete system of the SLM, right? Even though you do not do any physical lab work, right, but you need to know at least how to use this particular device, okay. We do have many types of brands supplying this sound level meter, right? By the end of the day, it gives the same function to measure the noise or sound in the environment, okay, like your headphones, okay. Basically, we have lots of models of headphones with lots of functions, right? By the end of the day, the usage of the headphone is the same, right? To communicate, right? To socialize, to take photos, to save data, documents or whatnot, right? And it is just a matter of what to press, okay, what to click, okay, what to what to download, the apps and whatnot, right? So same as the SLM and also other devices, okay, we have lots of brands, right? So it is just a matter of what button to press, okay, what button to what icon to click, okay, and so on, right? So upon completing this lab work, okay, you should be able, okay, to highlight or identify what are the components and also the functions of the complete system of this SLM. Right, and then the third objective is to be able to use the portable SLM to measure noise levels in the workplace. Right. When should you be able to use this portable SLM? Maybe not now, but maybe after graduating, after you go to the industry, maybe, right? So you have some idea. Let's say your boss says, okay, you need to go to this site. Okay, please take the sound level there because we are having complaints from the workers, right? So at least you know at least, maybe the brand is different, but at least you know what to look for, okay, what to expect, right? And it is just a matter of knowing how to use that particular SLM of different brands, right? And the final objective is to be able to analyze and draw conclusions from the use of SLM in the work site, right? So this is where you'll be having data, okay, from several venues, from several events maybe, and from these several data, you should be able to draw some conclusion. You should be able to discuss what the results show. Okay, you should be able to analyze the data, and then you should be able, from these data, maybe you could conclude something and maybe propose maybe ergonomic intervention to somehow make sure those human operators in that particular workplace, in the noisy environment, could work much more better. Okay, any questions on objectives?
No, sir.
Okay, I hope I'm not, the internet line is okay, I'm not lagging. Okay, so, right, thank you. So these are some of the images of some SLM, sound level meters, right? So normally it is a handheld device, okay, with several buttons and a screen on it, okay. And then you have this probe, okay, at the end of the device, whereby this probe basically captures the sound using this microphone, right? And normally we use tripod to make sure that this device is being located rigidly, okay, somewhere, okay, in that environment, in that workplace, okay. And then to support, okay, the analysis, okay, of this data collection, normally it is equipped with a portable laptop, a robust one. Why? Because we need to bring this particular device to the site, right? And in this software, okay, in this laptop, we do have a software, and using this software where we could save the data, okay, produce graphs and see what is the data of the noise along several certain period of time, okay. Even handphones nowadays are very, very advanced, okay. The applications and the apps in the handphones are very advanced. You can simply download sound level meter or a decibel meter, okay, in your handphones, and then you can take measurements. Okay? You can take measurements at a particular workplace or confined space at your home or anywhere that maybe you would like to see what is the noise, okay? What is the noise being produced, right? However, what differs your applications of the decibel meter or SLM compared to these types of equipment? What does it differ? How does it differ? Basically, anyone? How does your apps, okay, sound level meter and these devices, okay, differs? Any idea?
The microphone.
The microphone, okay, right? The microphone, you can see this microphone. You don't have this microphone on your phone, right? But I think you can somehow attach an add-on accessory to your phone. I've seen one, okay, that you can plug into the jack, okay, an external microphone, right? But others, there's something that is much more significant. What differs the app's decibel meter with the SLM device?
Accuracy.
Yes, correct. The accuracy, right? The accuracy of the device and also your handphone. So maybe, okay, these devices use very specific and delicate microphones to capture very low frequency sounds, maybe, right? But your handphone, basically the microphone is only for talking, speech, speech microphones, right? But however, you can somehow get somehow a very raw or general idea or overview of the surroundings noise using your handphone's application, right? So these are some of the images of the SLM. Okay, so you look at this lab sheet, right? You don't have any chapters here, but when I do have this figure, right? So the caption is figure 1. Okay, figure 1, right? So this is where, okay, this is where in your report, okay, this is not report, this is a lab sheet, but in your report, okay, you need to cross-refer the figures in your text, okay, and every time you start a section or a chapter, you must always start with some description. Okay, right, so these are the procedure. Okay, the first one is you need to search at least 5 references for data information from the internet regarding the usage and application of the SLM. Okay, at least 5. More would be much better, but the least is 5, right? And then your references should have ample data or noise level data collected by using the SLM at specific locations in the workplace, right? In your references, there must be some data collection, there must be some results, okay? And that particular data collection is being conducted at a specific workplace. Okay, and then number 3, all these data, okay, that you have found, okay, will be your main reference for your lab report. Okay, so far it is very direct. I hope you do understand. Any question?
Yes, I understand, sir.
Okay, right. Thank you for the response. Okay, this is the most important part. Okay, your lab report requirements. Okay, upon completing 5 lab sessions, means that you have completed 5 equipment. Okay, this is the full report contents that you need to include. Okay, the acknowledgement, okay, table of contents, list of figure, list of tables, list of symbol and abbreviation. Okay, and then this is where every equipment report will be included. You can either divide your final report into chapters. Let's say we have 5 equipment, so we do have 5 chapters basically, or 5 sections. Okay, so this is depends on how would you like to write your lab report. Okay, so for the acknowledgement, table of content, list of figures, list of table, list of symbols and abbreviations 1 to 5, this is only to be included. Okay, these are only to be included in the final version of the compiled lab report. Am I clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, right.
Yes, clear, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay. Now for every lab report, okay, for every equipment or for every lab session, okay, one of the group members needs to produce one report, okay, one lab report that consists of number 6. The contents should consist of number 6. So these are the main body of the respective lab sessions. Okay, so for this particular session, the sound level meter. So anyone in your group, okay, you can discuss further after this, who would like to make this report. Okay, so he or she needs to put in all of these requirements, all of this information in the particular lab report for SLM. So next week, we'll be doing the second lab session, the second equipment. So another group member of yours will produce the second lab report for the second equipment according to this main body of report also. Am I clear on that?
Yes, clear, sir.
Okay, right.
Yes.
So what you need to do, okay, right? So let's say this is chapter 1. For example, I'm giving you an example. I'm using chapter for it is much more easier to divide and segregate, okay, the sections of your report, right? So let's say chapter 1 is the SLM, sound level meter. So 1.1, you should put in the introduction of SLM equipment, right? When we put an introduction of the SLM equipment, okay, I know that you can just type in Google, Wikipedia, or any internet platform, just type sound level meter, and then there will be hundreds or thousands of websites talking about SLM, right? So please, when you introduce your SLM equipment, I would like you to write your own introduction, right? Write your own introduction. What do you know about SLM? Okay, what is an SLM, right? How do you write all these? This is where you refer to your references, not copying your references into the report. Is that clear?
Yes, clear.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for the response. Like when you are going for an interview, right? After this, you will be going to lots of interviews, okay? When you are job hunting after this, okay, after graduating, right? Normally the first thing, okay, when you go into interview room, right? You will be having about 2 or 3 panels, interviewer panels there. Then you will be sitting on a chair about 4 to 5 meters, okay, far from the panel. And then the first thing you do, you will hand over your certs to the panels, right? And then you will have a seat. Okay, so the panel say, okay, have a seat, right? So and then the interviewing session will start. And what does normally the interviewer will ask? The first question. Anyone that has happened to join an interview session previously, maybe? What normally the interviewer asks when you have sit down?
Why do you want this job?
Why do you want this job? No, that is basically the last question.
Tell about you.
Yes.
Today.
Please introduce yourself. So please introduce the SLM equipment. So please introduce yourself. So do you have a text on it? Do you have a text? Or do you happen to open Wikipedia to see how do I introduce myself from Wikipedia, right? Is there Helmi bin Rashid in Wikipedia? And I read all those things? No, right? So how do you introduce yourself? This is where you spontaneously will tell about yourself to the panels. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So same as this.
Right.
Okay, same as this. Okay. How do you know what to say? You refer back to yourself. Okay, your name, where you're from, okay, where do you live, okay, what is your first degree, maybe where is your diploma, okay, and then what is your background, right? So you go by sequence by all these things being referred to yourself. So for the lab session, what I'm expecting from all of you is that when it comes to introduction of the equipment of the particular lab session, right? So please introduce the equipment based on what do you know, right? But you need to refer to some references lah. Need to refer to some references, okay? So you need to introduce the name or model of the SLM equipment, all right? And then when you introduce something, normally, okay, normally you need to include the photos, right? Photos or images of the SLM complete equipment set with labeling. Okay, maybe you got from a website, from a manufacturer, right? And then there's this one full set of SLM, right? However, there's only the picture of it. So you can label it by yourself. How to do it? How to label the parts, components, or devices in your report? Any idea? Hello? Am I talking or the screen is lagging? Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, how do you label these devices in your report? Come on, part 8, part 7 students, I'm expecting you to talk much. How do you label the complete set of equipment in your report?
How we label?
Yes, how do you label the device, the components, the parts maybe?
By showing the arrow.
Writing the word.
Yes, you use arrows
Yes.
and you use text box, right? So this is the main body, this is the platform, this is the charger or what else. This is the microphone, right? So you label it accordingly. So this is what I'm expecting, right? I'm not expecting a copy and paste from from the website and also the figures from the website, and then just leave it like that. So you need to make sure things are detailedly explained, right? Why I'm asking you to do this, so that you could train yourself, okay, to write a good report, right? To write a good report. Okay, I know there's lots of references, there's lots of website out there that you can just copy and paste, right? But please try to make your own words. Try to make your own words. Try to write. What do you know? What do you get basically from this particular lab session? Okay, so name or model of the SLM equipment. All right, tell what it is for. Okay, like introducing the equipment to someone that doesn't know what this equipment is. Right, so you need to explain in detail, okay, and then what is the function and purpose of this SLM equipment, and also what is the equipment's price in ringgit Malaysia, because normally these devices are imported from overseas, okay, from Europe, from the US, okay, maybe from Japan, right? So maybe they are using different currencies, okay, maybe they are using USD, okay, UK pound sterling, maybe euro, okay, maybe yen, right? Maybe rupiah, maybe, right? So this is where you can include the actual price, and then you convert it approximately to how many ringgit Malaysia. Okay, and again, when you put any table, when you put any figures into your report, make sure the caption is included accordingly, and also it is being cross-referred in your text. Okay, is that clear?
Clear, sir.
Clear, sir.
Okay, right. And then the second section of your main body, okay, for example, let's say chapter 1.1 on introduction, chapter 1.2 is on the procedures of using the equipment, right? Proper steps to use the equipment. Okay, so again, this is where you can find the proper steps or the procedures, how to use the equipment, for many handbooks on the internet, right? And I'm expecting you to write it in your own words. Don't copy the procedures and then just put it into your report. Okay, these contents basically determines how much marks you would get for your lab report, right? So if it is just very straightforward, so we will know that this is a very copy and paste work, so maybe you will get lower marks, right? So these proper steps, okay, to use the equipment basically needs to show some pictures. Which button to push, okay, what to click. Maybe you need to use maybe a couple of batteries, okay, AA, AAA maybe, okay, or D, right? So these are the steps that you need to include in your report, right? Why do you need to know the steps? Because if you go back to the objectives, all right, okay, you should be able to use the portable SLM to measure noise levels in the workplace. All right, so this is where you need to know how to use it by including the steps to use the equipment, okay, including the pictures, right? And these pictures must be captioned, right? Must include some caption in it, and it must be cross-referred in the procedures, in the step-by-step usage of the equipment. Okay, so how about the model? Okay, so for example, okay, you found, let's say, 5 references, okay, on the SLM, and only one model, okay, one reference has the step-by-step procedure, only one. So I advise you, when you want to introduce, okay, the SLM, when you want to include the photo SLM, use the model and also the photos of the SLM that you use in the steps to use the equipment section. All right, so somehow you can relate between this section 1.2 with this section introduction of 1.1. Okay, I'm talking about chapter 1 basically. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you. And then moving forward, okay, this is where, because you cannot collect any data, you cannot do any physical lab works, okay, this is where you are required to analyze data that is being published by researchers, okay, in journals that has been published in many databases, okay, especially Scopus, right? So this is where in part C, okay, 6C, okay, or section 1.3, for example, okay, you need to include a minimum of 2 case studies, right? So a minimum of 2 case studies means that you need to find a minimum of 2 research papers, 2 journals basically. And I assume that you know what does the journals look like because you are in the final semester, you're doing your FYP, right? You have done your literature review. So you know where to get all these papers, you know how to get all these journals, okay? So basically you can go into UiTM's library, go into online database, okay, you search for under Scopus because lots of the engineering works are being published under Scopus, right? And it is what do you call that? A reliable database, okay, for you to refer your works with, right? So you need to download minimum of 2 research papers, okay, that conducts data collection at a particular venue using an SLM machine. Okay, is that clear? Are you following me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So you need to have 2 venues. Why 2 venues? Because in part D, 6D, okay, and also 6E, this is where you need to compare, you need to analyze the results from these 2 venues, right? So we know of 2 case studies. If you want to make more, by all means, okay, because let's say you want to compare 3 places, 3 venues, okay, 3 venues, okay, that does the research on collecting data of the sound level at a particular workplace, right? So when you have these 2 studies, 2 papers, right? Normally when researchers publish their work, okay, they will tell you where was the data collection being conducted, right? So this is where in part 6C, you need to clearly justify, clearly include, okay, the venue of the particular workplace that the data collection is being conducted, right? So normally sometimes okay, those research papers, they do have this picture of the venue, okay, and also maybe the address, maybe at UiTM, maybe at Sirim Shah Alam, maybe at UiTM Penang, maybe for example, or maybe at Toyota Assembly Services Sdn Bhd at section 15, maybe at the Cadbury Chocolate Factory at section 16, right? Section 16, is it, or section 17, right? So these venues, okay, you need to include, okay, the venues where it is being conducted, okay, with pictures. Okay, if the pictures are not from the paper, right, you can get it elsewhere from the internet. And if it is from the paper, when you have a caption on your figure, you need to put in what in the caption? Because you are using the picture from the paper, what you need to do? Yes, you need to cite the journal, because that picture is not yours. It is from the journal. If there's no picture in the journal, right? But it says there, okay, it states there that this research is being conducted at Toyota Assembly Services AASB Sdn Bhd at section 15 Shah Alam, right? So you can just Google a picture of AASB, okay, maybe a picture of the compound, right? And then what you need to do, you take it from the internet, right? So what you need to do, you need to cite the source that you take it from the internet, right? And let's say there's no picture of it, right? You don't know where it is. Let's say it is in somewhere in around Europe or somewhere around South Africa. You don't know where, but you know the address. What can you do? You can use Google Map, right? You can use Google Map, and then you can snip the Google Map, put it into your report, and then put a caption on it, and then cross-refer it and further explain in your paragraph, right? So I am expecting that your report is a very detailed report, okay, that has all these cross-referencing and also citations and figures and whatnot, right? So you can even use Google Street View, okay, Google Street View just to show where the compound is, right? So I need the venue, okay, of both, okay, both research venues for the case study, right? And the venue must be reflected by showing the pictures of the venue, whether it is from the journal, whether it is from the internet, or it is from Google Earth, Google Maps, or Google Street View, either one. Okay, if we have 3, so there will be 3 venues. If we have 4, there will be 4 venues, and so on and so forth, right? But the minimum is 2 case studies, right? Is that clear on 6C?
Yes, yes.
Okay, right.
Yes, sir.
And then coming to 6D, when you have all these venues and whatnot, you have these 2 case studies, right? You have these 2 case studies, and in every case study, there must be some data being collected. And that data must be related to the sound noise, sound and also noises at that particular workplace, because we are talking about SLM, sound level meter, right? So you need to put in what are the results, and what are the results being collected at that particular venue. Okay, maybe you want to put it in terms of a table, okay, venue 1 or venue 2, okay, ASSB section 15 and also Cadbury factory section 15, right? So you can put there, and then you can put all the data, and those data are from the report, from the journal. So you need to cite it accordingly, right? And then you can put in what are the types of data, maybe some graphs, maybe some bar chart, okay? Whatever results that you collect from these 2 venues. And when you include all these data, you need to explain about what are the data being collected. Okay, you don't just put in the table and then you leave it like that, right? So you need to somehow briefly explain what are the data, okay, and what are being measured, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is 6D. And when it comes to 6E, right, 6E, this is where you need to discuss the data that you have found in these 2 minimum of 2 case studies. Okay, so for example, the noise at ASSB is like this. The noise at Cadbury chocolate factory is like this, right? So complaints has been made like this by workers, and here, so you can discuss anything. You can discuss anything about the data, okay, with respect to your case studies. Okay, so this is where you can compare, you can critique, okay, and even if there's no intervention being proposed, okay, in those papers, in those journal papers, you can suggest your own interventions. Okay, you can suggest your own intervention, right? So in your discussion also, I would like you to discuss the case studies based on your own words. Okay, do not copy and paste, because normally what do I get? I will get 6 to 7 pages of discussion, right? And all of this is being taken from several resources from the internet, right? So what do you get? What do you learn? We learn how to copy and paste, right? So I don't want this. I want you to learn, okay, to understand the situation, okay, to analyze the situation, so that you can suggest interventions, okay, for a particular condition, right? And in your discussion, you are allowed to include any figures, okay, any table or anything that you think is related and also relevant to your lab report, okay, to your particular respective equipment. So by all means, okay, you can put it into the discussion, right? Is that clear with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. And then finally, okay, this is where you conclude what you have found, okay, based on the case studies, and also to conclude the whole report of the SLM, right? And along all these contents here, okay, there will be lots of data that you take from several references, right? I am very sure you will take it from several references. So this is where please cite those references accordingly. So maybe for every respective lab report, for every respective lab equipment, you will be having about what? Maybe 6 to 7 references, or maybe more, 11 to 12 references. Okay, it's okay, but you need to cite it accordingly. Things are not yours, needs to be cited accordingly, right? So this is where you will be putting a list of references at the end of your report. Okay, so this concludes one lab report for one lab equipment. Okay, any questions so far? Are you following me or am I lagging?
Yes, I'm following you, sir.
Okay, right. Thank you for the response. Okay, right. So maybe when you have completed the whole 5 lab equipments, maybe someone will ask, sir, when we do a report like this, normally the reference will be at the end, at the last part of your report. Okay, last part of your report. So how should you compile 5 reports references into only one list of reference, right? So I'm giving you an example. For example, for the first equipment, you have 6, right? You have 6 numbers of references, for example. So the numbers will list from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So for next week, okay, lab equipment number 2, okay, the report, maybe let's say you'll be having 10. Okay, 10 references. So the first reference in the second lab equipment, okay, so the list will start with number 1. It will not start with number 7. Okay, continuing the previous references of lab report 1. Right, so you do not need to change the referencing number. What you need to do in the list of references at the end of the whole compiled report, okay, please pay attention, at the end of the whole compiled report, the list of references, you just need to put in what is the chapter for that, or what is the section for that particular references, list of references. For example, you have a big title here, references, and down here you put chapter 1. So you can list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then chapter 2, and then you list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because we are having 10 what do you call that? 10 references. And then chapter 3, the third equipment, you have only 3 references, 1, 2, 3, right? So anyone doing that particular report, okay, with only 3 references will be penalized. Because why? Because the minimum requirement for the references is 5. Okay, right? I think that is clear. So this is the rubric report, okay, and your report, yes?
Regarding the conclusion and discussion just now, is it we need to merge it or split it?
No need to merge, you just split it. Okay, so the discussion and conclusion is for one respective report. Okay, you don't need to merge all the discussion for all 5 equipments. No. Okay, like you yourself, you are doing, let's say for example, who's talking just now?
Alif Imran.
Okay, Alif Imran. So let's say you are doing this first report, the SLM, right? So you will be discussing your data from this 6C here, right? From this 6C here, will be discussing your data here, and then you will conclude only the data that you have done in your report, right? When you compile all the reports, there's no need for you to produce any discussion or conclusion for the whole report. No need. Okay, am I clear?
Which means each report, each discussion, is it?
Yes, every report has their own discussion and also conclusion.
Oh, okay, understood, sir.
Okay, unless except for the references. Okay, the references you put it at the end after chapter 5. Let's say chapter 5 is your 5th report, right? For your 5th equipment. So last you have the references, list of references, but in the list of references you still put it into chapters. Chapter 1, this is the reference for chapter 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chapter 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Chapter 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, for example. Okay?
Clear, sir. Thank you.
Right.
Clear, sir.
Alright. Now the rubrics for the report. So these are the rubrics. So you should get 7 and above, right? So 7 and above is somewhere here. Okay. So we are looking into this type of score, okay, for you to get an A. To get A means that average marks. Average marks. Okay. Before you want B, Okay, boleh lah kan. Or if you want C, cemerlang. Okay, or if you want E or F, excellent and fantastic, itu kita minta jauh lah. Right, so we are talking about 7 and above. Okay, 7 is good. Okay, 8 is a bit more better. Right, 9 and 10 is outstanding, excellent. Right, how do I basically look at your report? So these are the rubrics. So for me, satisfactory 5 to 6 is where when I look at report at a specific subchapter, okay, I will say okay lah. So okay lah is satisfactory lah. Alright, so maybe you get 5 to 6. I'm not interested to look into this 0 to 4. Right, hopefully you don't get within this range lah. And these are the assessment: introduction, contents, figure, table, charts, key discussion, conclusion, and also format references. This is where your marks will be based on what you submit. Okay, for example, Alif, just now you did this SLM for your submission. Okay, for your compile report, and let's say upon 10% you get 9.8%, or let's say you get full marks 10%, very outstanding, full marks. Okay. And what about the rest of the group members, the other 4 group members? So they will get their marks based on what they submit for their own respective report. So you yourself only will get 10 marks, right? So your report doesn't affect other people's report. What if from 5 students, only 3 students submitted? So only 3 students will get marks for their lab assignments, lab report. Okay, so the other two, I'm not sure how to say. All right. Okay. Right, so this is the date of submission. So basically, you can read the instruction here. The group is required to submit one finalized complete version of the lab report, and you need to compile everything. Okay, that will be due 2 weeks after the final lab session has been conducted. Means that after you have completed the fifth lab session, right? So this way, every lab equipment for every lab session should be prepared by a single student in their group before being compiled into one finalized complete version of the lab report. Right. So at the end of the day, someone will be the editor. Someone will edit the report or whatnot. So I need to know who in your group did the final compilation, right? And then that person that did the final compilation needs to upload it. Okay, only one group, one report, and only one report needs to be uploaded into Turnitin. Okay, I will provide you the class ID and also password later. Okay, and as usual, your threshold limit for the index plagiarism in Turnitin is 30%. Okay, 30%. Right. So make sure you don't exceed this 30%. That's why if you do your report by your own words, okay, right, based on what you do understand, so normally you will get maybe not more than 15 or not more than 10, right? But if you cut here a bit, cut there a bit, and then put everything, right, maybe it can, peak until 60 or 70%, right? And this is where you need to include, okay, your cover report of your lab report, okay, at the end of the session, okay, whereby this cover is to be used for your compiled version of your finalized complete report. Okay, this one, not for every report, okay, not for every respective lab equipment, but only for the final compiled version of the lab report, right? So if you do notice here, we have merged into one College of Engineering. Now the FKM, Faculty of Mechanical, is currently known as School of Mechanical Engineering, College of Engineering, right? So you put in your student name here, student number, your mobile phone, everything, right? And hope, okay, your marks will be somewhere here. Okay, right. So this is lab report 1, lab report 2, lab report 3, lab report 4, and also lab report 5. Okay, so this is where you will be getting individual marks. Right, so this is the scale here, 0 to 10, and these are the score, whereby this scale is being multiplied by the weightage W and this is your final marks of 10%. You remember, lab assignments, okay, carries 10% of your total marks, okay, for this particular subject. All right. Any questions on this lab work, lab sheet?
Sir,
Yes.
so we can just know the Turnitin for the report after we compile all.
Yes. After you compile all the lab sessions report into one final report, by then that is where you will be submitting into Turnitin, not report by report. And then once submission is final, you cannot, let's say you submit, the Turnitin is 45, so basically I will deduct 15%, okay, from the total marks for everyone, right? For everyone, the Turnitin is for everyone, okay, because it is compiled report, okay.
Only once.
Yes, only once. It is final, right?
All right.
Because if it is not final, you can somehow adjust here, adjust there, right? So it is final. So please make sure to avoid your index Turnitin exceeds 30%. Make sure you put in your own words, okay? But this is to train you. This is to train you to produce a very good report, right? Because after, you know, even now, I'm producing lots of reports, right? And this is where when you produce your own reports, you need to put in your own words, right? So by then, if you have already biasa buat report before this, right? So there's no problem for you to write reports in the future. But by then, in the future, this is where that is the first time you want to write a good report. So it is a big problem for you guys, right? Okay. I think this is clear about the lab sheet, so you can get this lab sheet. I'll be sharing the lab sheet also in the WhatsApp group. You can get it from MS Teams and also from YouTube. Yeah, right. So after this, okay, after this, I'll be showing a short video demonstration about the SLM that we have at the faculty, and then I will release you guys, okay, to further discuss about your flow of conduct for the lab reports and also the lab sessions, okay, and please do discuss within the time provided until 4 o'clock, okay, because why, I am pretty sure that during this ODL it is very hard for you to meet up, okay, to have a meeting to discuss and whatnot, okay, because why, because everyone is everywhere. Because if we do have face-to-face, at least you can meet up at you know, class or after class, because everyone is there. But now everyone is everywhere around Malaysia, right? So it is hard to meet online and whatnot. Okay, right. So I'll be sharing, okay, this is the lab session today, right? So you can go to lab session, you can go to files. Okay, so this is the recording, basically the recording for previous session. Okay, so you can look into the folder of lab 1. Okay, you can look into the folder of lab 1 here. So this is where I've uploaded the lab sheet, okay, for the first lab session, and also the short video by Tuan Haji Abdul Halim Mina. Okay, I'll be sharing the video now. I need to exit first. Okay, and I need to share first. Include computer sound. Okay, right. I hope you can hear what Tuan Haji Abdul Halim has to say.
Sekarang kami menerangkan
Right. Can you hear us?
peralatan-peralatan yang kita gunakan untuk.
Can you hear the sound?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes.
Okay, right. So I'll be, it is a very short video, 1 minute plus, okay? Just introduction of the SLM that we do have at the faculty.
Baik, sekarang kami ingin menerangkan berkenaan dengan peralatan-peralatan yang kita gunakan untuk latihan amali di dalam amal ergonomik. Okey, yang pertama, sound level meter. Okey, sound level meter yang kita ada ini adalah dari jenama kasar model 6244. Ianya menggunakan bateri, bateri bersaiz AA Okay. Dan gadget ini merupakan gadget mudah alih yang boleh mengukur tahap bunyi daripada 20 dB sehingga 130 dB. Alat ini diperolehi pada 26 hari bulan 9 tahun 2010 dengan harga RM34,000. Ini adalah untuk data-data pakatan jika perlu bagi kamu untuk membuat perbandingan dengan model-model yang lain yang berada di pasaran pada masa kini. Dari segi fungsi peralatan ini adalah untuk mengukur tahap kebisingan ataupun perubahan tekanan udara yang disebabkan dari gelombang bunyi. Ianya boleh digunakan sama ada di dalam bilik ataupun di luar bilik.
Okay, so you can watch again this video. Okay, so this is the sonometer that we do have at our faculty. Okay, it is a brand of Castle. And how much does it cost?
34,000.
34K.
34,000 guys, right? 34,000, right? So this is where every time when students use the equipment at laboratory, we do advise the students to use it carefully. Okay, to use it carefully. If not, if the product malfunctions, right, broken or whatnot, so it will give a problem to other students that would like to use the equipment at other times. Okay, so I think that's all for the briefing today. So we do have about another 45 minutes, okay, for our lab session. So I'll be releasing you guys, right? I'll be releasing you guys to group back, okay, to discuss in your groups. So I do believe you do have your own WhatsApp group, right? So maybe you can VC after this in your group and start to discuss about the conduct of the lab session, okay? Even though there's only one student that will be writing the report, okay, for that particular lab session, but all other group members can also help to find maybe the references and so on and so forth. And when it's your turn, other group starts to try to help you out also. By the end of the day, the report must be produced by only one student, and that student's report will reflect how much marks he or she will get. Okay, right? Any questions so far?
No, sir. Clearly understand.
Okay, so
Doctor,
yes, who is this?
the Fatin.
Yes, Fatin.
The list name at the front page, is it
Okay.
according to the lab report that we do? I mean, like if we do the lab session once?
Yes.
So,
Yes, this one, okay, the numbers of the, wait, I'll share with you guys again. Okay, this list number, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, the name of the student here, okay, is according to the lab report in your compilation. Okay, so let's say Fatin, you are number 2 here, so your marks will be L2 over here. Okay, right? So this is according to the equipment sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this name of yours is also according to the sequence of the lab report that you are doing. Okay, for lab 1, lab 2, lab 3, lab 4, and so lab 5. So lab 1 here is for SLM, and then next week and the following weeks we'll be having other ergonomic equipments to be conducted in the lab session. Am I answering your question, Fatin?
yes. Thank you.
Right, welcome. Any other questions? No, I assume, right? So if you don't have any other questions, so again, I would like you to group back into your groups and further discuss about this report, okay? And then for your mini project, okay, don't worry much about your mini project, because basically your mini project needs to be, you need to go through several other lectures before you can somehow start your mini project, all right? So maybe in the coming weeks of the lecture session, okay, I will be briefing you guys on the mini project. So I think that's all for today. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and also your attention. Okay, I would like to apologize for any misconduct of today's session of the lab. All right, so hope to see you guys next week, right, on Tuesday, all right, 13th of April. Do we have a public holiday next week, 1st of Ramadan?
I don't know.
Not sure, eh? So because we will be fasting, inshallah, 13th of April, inshallah, next week, right? So I would like to wish you selamat berpuasa, happy Ramadan. Okay, stay safe everyone, right? And then I have a nice weekend this weekend. So let's wrap up this lab session by reciting Tasbih Kafarah and Suratul As. Okay, by that, I dismiss the class for today. Group back to discuss further on your lab. Okay, and see you guys next week, inshallah. All right, stay safe, everyone. Thank you very much.